The accusation that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza has ignited intense debate among experts and the global community. But here's where it gets controversial. The world's foremost association of genocide scholars has officially declared that Israel's actions in Gaza meet the legal criteria for genocide as defined by the United Nations. This bold statement comes from the International Association of Genocide Scholars, IAGS, the largest professional body of its kind, which includes many renowned Holocaust experts. In a detailed 3-page resolution, the IAGS outlines numerous actions taken by Israel during the ongoing 22-month conflict in Gaza, categorizing these acts as genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The resolution is not a casual claim. It is backed by a vote in which 28% of the association's 500 members participated, and an overwhelming 86% of those voters supported the resolution. The declaration meticulously summarizes Israeli policies and military operations, highlighting widespread attacks on essential infrastructure and personnel critical for civilian survival. This includes deliberate strikes on healthcare facilities, humanitarian aid operations, and educational institutions. One of the most harrowing points raised is the impact on children. According to UNICEF, around 50,000 children have been killed or injured due to Israeli actions, severely undermining the ability of the Palestinian population in Gaza to survive and sustain itself over time. Moreover, the resolution draws attention to statements from Israeli leaders advocating for the forced displacement of all Palestinians from Gaza, coupled with near-total destruction of housing in the region. The IAGS also condemns the dehumanizing rhetoric used by some Israeli officials, who have labeled all Palestinians in Gaza as enemies and vowed to flatten Gaza and turn it into hell. This language, the scholars argue, contributes to the genocidal intent by framing an entire group as a target for annihilation. Unsurprisingly, the Israeli Foreign Ministry has strongly rejected the report, dismissing it as based on Hamas lies and flawed research, calling it an embarrassment to the legal profession. Israeli officials maintain that Israel is the victim of genocide, not the perpetrator, and insist that their military actions are legitimate self-defense measures. The IAGS acknowledges that the Hamas attack on October 7, 2023, which resulted in approximately 1,200 deaths and 251 hostages, was itself a criminal act. However, they emphasize that Israel's response has not been limited to targeting Hamas militants, but has instead affected the entire civilian population of Gaza, raising serious legal and moral questions. To understand the gravity of the accusation, it's important to recall the 1948 UN Genocide Convention, established in the aftermath of the Holocaust. It defines genocide as acts committed with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. The IAGS resolution argues that Israel's conduct fits this definition. Adding weight to this perspective, several prominent human rights organizations, including 2 based in Israel, have publicly stated their belief that Israel is committing genocide. Yet the United Nations and many Western governments have taken a more cautious stance, asserting that only a formal ruling by an international court can definitively determine whether genocide is occurring. Currently, the International Court of Justice, ICJ, the UN's highest judicial body, is reviewing a case filed by South Africa in 2023, accusing Israel of genocide. The ICJ has not yet issued a verdict and has granted Israel an extension until January 2026 to submit its defense. Israel has condemned the case as anti-Semitic, labeling it a blood libel, a historically charged accusation referring to false claims that Jewish communities murder Christian children. The IAGS clarifies that their resolution is independent and does not influence any legal proceedings at international courts. Meanwhile, the Hamas-run Ministry of Health in Gaza reports that over 63,000 people have died and more than 160,000 have been injured since the conflict began. While these figures are widely regarded as credible, they do not differentiate between civilians and combatants, which complicates the humanitarian assessment. In a related and deeply troubling development, the UN-backed Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, IPC, confirmed in August that famine conditions are present in parts of Gaza. Israel faces accusations of causing this famine by imposing strict restrictions on the entry of food and medical supplies into the territory. Since Israel controls all border crossings into Gaza, it holds significant responsibility under international law as the occupying power to protect civilian lives, which includes preventing starvation. This raises urgent ethical and legal questions about the ongoing blockade and its impact on the civilian population. This situation is fraught with complexity and deeply polarizing views. What do you think? Is the IAGS resolution a necessary wake-up call about the realities on the ground, or does it oversimplify a highly complicated conflict? How should the international community respond when accusations of genocide arise amid ongoing warfare? Share your thoughts and join the conversation below.